Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me today on the Divine Messages podcast. My name is Karina, and I am a psychic medium from Calgary, Alberta. I am so excited for my next guest to come on here with me. She is the incredible co-host of the Virgin Radio Calgary Morning Show. She is also the founder of A Woman a Day YYC on Instagram. It is a platform to celebrate the women of Calgary by sharing their stories of accomplishment and contributions to our community. She has such a bright energy and loves to help other women, and I'm so glad that she agreed to come on here with me today. So everyone, please help me welcome Danaye Maier to the podcast. Hi, Danaye. How are you?
Hi, Karina. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited you're here. This has been a long time coming, and we're finally doing it.
Yes, I know. I'm so excited that it finally worked out. But I don't know. I think this is like the perfect time for it to work out. We're at the start of a new year, and I'm just, yeah, super excited to be here.
And you have a lot of change in your life, and we'll get into that a
Oh,
little bit later.
yes,
A lot of good
totally.
things happening, and I want to say, let's go back in time and tell everybody kind of how we got to this place today, because we started following each other on Instagram years ago, right?
Yes, I hope my like recollection of it is the same as yours. Sometimes
I
people have
hope.
like
I
different
know.
experiences, but I
Right.
feel like in my mind, you just like came into my world when I needed you the most.
Aw.
Which is funny because we didn't even actually like meet yet for a couple years after that. But no, I feel like yeah, we started following on each other on Instagram. And I
Yeah.
think like was it during COVID when we were all like during lockdown that like we first chatted?
I would
Does
say it
that
was
sound right to you?
before. It was
Was it even
before.
before that? Well,
Yes.
so when did I feature you on A Woman a Day? Was that before or after?
Oh my God. I have the worst memory. I would say it
Yeah.
was like maybe after COVID. I want to say after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe
So to
last year.
me, like in my mind, like I feel like you just like I remember like being on my couch and you sent me a message and you were like, I was drawn to draw a card for you. And I was like, oh
Right.
my goodness. Oh wow, I love this. And like my like conscious mind was like, yeah, sure, this will be fun. And then you drew a card for me that was like, you need to trust your gut. You need to do that. I was
Mhm.
like, oh, boom, she's right.
That's right.
Which is so funny, but
Funny.
yeah, I mean, like, I was, like, really struggling. I mean, that's my memory of it. I was really struggling, and I feel like this happened a few times with us where you were, like, drawn to draw a card to me, and every time you did, it was kinda, like, along those same lines, and this was,
Right.
um I guess we might as well, like, loop everybody in because 'cause we're gonna get into it and, like,
Mm-hmm.
chat about it, but so I recently separated from my husband,
Yes.
who I'd been with for 20 years since I was 17, and I feel like, yeah, this was, like, in a time where I knew that I needed to start making a change in my life,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I was, like, we were going through a tumultuous time and things were really tough, and, like, anytime, like, you start thinking about it, and I think women really in my situation, at least, it took me a long time to really get to the place where I could do it, whereas, like, I knew for a long time I should do it. I should make the move kinda thing, right?
Right. Yes.
So, yeah, you would just, like, send me these cards and like, "Oh, okay, like, somebody wants to push me along," right? And
Right.
I'm such a big believer in the other side and in my angels, and I really do believe that, like, my grandmother's with me and is like supporting me in this journey and everything. So when you would send me those messages, I was like, oh my goodness. And then I was like, like started following you. I was like, I gotta feature you and get the word out on this amazing person on my Instagram page, A Woman a Day YYC, which features different Calgary and area women that are doing amazing things.
Yeah.
And then we finally just met this past fall because again, you popped into
Mhm.
my world. You just popped onto my feed when I was going through like a really tough time. Like stuff was like hitting the fan. But like
Yes.
I'd finally made the move. It was like the weekend that like my ex and I were signing off on our separation agreement and things were crazy. And you popped up on my feed. I was like, I need to meet her. And then we met and it was like
That
the
was
best thing ever.
crazy. It was the best thing. It was funny because you came over and it's like, well, first of all, I feel like I've known you for so long. And
I know.
I'm not one of those people to usually be like, hey, let me just like message strangers. But we had been following each other and I kept getting these like strong feelings to be like, I got to pull a card for you. And I hope that's not weird. And I used to do this all the time, like where I would pull cards for like 200 people on a Friday night or wherever it was,
Yeah.
or whenever I had time, really. But I had to stop doing that because I just got so busy. But I would say that I was so drawn to it and I'm like, she needs this. And I kept hearing it. So I thought, even if I sound crazy and I sound weird, I'm going to just ask her if she needs a card. And you said yes. And then of course, we've talked so many times, and then you featured me, and I was so grateful for that. And we just started having, these little conversations on Instagram. And then when you came, it was like a friend walked in the door. I was like, hey, here she is. Like I knew you well. It was like a past life connection because I knew you instantly when you came through the door. It was ease. It was really nice.
Yes, I felt the same way. Like I just like I feel like you like hugged me and I was like, yes, of course we're hugging. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Like it's just this
Exactly.
like instant connection. Same thing. Like I just felt so incredibly at peace, like meeting you in person for the first time. But yeah, truly, like I don't know, we've got a cool connection, and it's just yeah, something that I don't know. I think it makes you appreciate. I hate social media for so many reasons, but there's so
So do
many
I
cool reasons
sometimes.
for it, right? And I
Right.
think that there was like a reason, and you can feel somebody's energy and their like where they're coming from and like what their intentions are, like even through chats over Instagram. So that was like a
Absolutely.
yeah, big proof of that. That yeah, I definitely felt like I'd really known you in person for a long time.
And I think that's what helped you to trust to come have a session because, you're coming
Yes.
to who knows what, right? Like it's kind of intimidating, I think, for a lot of people. But you walked in there and you had like this, mindset of I need help with something. And,
Yeah.
even before you showed up, I was getting messages and I was like, whoa, her guides are pretty strong today. I'm like, so as soon as you walked in, I hugged you. I'm like, okay, let's go. And we sit down. I didn't even give you a chance to really say anything. I was like, I got to tell you this.
Yes. Well, that's where like are you cool to talk about like the stuff with my son? Like that's where that
Yes.
that was like right like in like the one of the first things you said to me was like we got to talk about your son's nightmares. And I like the chills that went up my
Oh,
spine
I'm
when you
getting
said
chills
that.
now. I'm
Yeah, I
getting chills.
know, right? Oh,
Yes.
like this was something that I had talked to about with his dad and my sister. That's it.
Hmm. Wow.
And so like you saying that to me, I was like, okay, here we're in for it. Like
Yeah.
we're in for some real deal stuff here.
And
But yeah, my poor little
yeah,
guy, he was like really
freaked
struggling
out.
and freaking out and like having these like awful night terrors. And I don't know, I was like trying a couple of different things. And honestly, it was just kind of like one of those things where I was like, well, he's crawling in with one of us, right? Like I mean, at this point, like my ex and I were still living together because that's how things go in like this current day and age of trying to find a new place. And we'd been
Yeah,
separated, but it was just like, okay, go sleep with your dad. Go sleep with your dad. Like I didn't
that's
really
right.
know
What it
what to
was.
do, but
Hmm.
you gave me some tools to go forward with after that.
Yeah, because I was like, look, all I'm hearing, and I said to you, I was like, I'm hearing this like ahead of time. And when that happens, this is like, it's serious and they really want to help. And so I started like going into it. I think I went into psychically, I went into your son's bedroom and I was like
Yeah.
walking around trying to feel the energy. And I got like this awful shaky, sick feeling. I'm like, oh no, when he's telling you this, that there's something bugging him, you have to believe him. There's something really that I feel is awful and it's
Yeah.
terrorizing him at night. And how old is he again?
He'll be 6, like right like he's
6.
just about 6. Yeah. So yeah, so I guess this happened when he started happening kind of when he was about 5 and a half.
Poor guy.
I
Yeah.
know. And then like I don't know, like you like talk to somebody like, oh, he just is looking for attention. He just like wants to snuggle. He just needs to like well, and then you're like, no, like he's being terrified. And you're like I take that 100% for face value. You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, we got
True.
to do something for this little guy, right?
That's right.
So,
He's struggling. And I think most
yeah.
parents chalk it up to, oh, well, maybe they had too much to eat at night or they're going through something at school. And they try, I think we all try to do that, right? We try to find a reason like,
Yes.
oh, it's got to be this or it's got to be that. But
Well, and I was like, oh, he must be picking up on mine and Matt's energy, and like the fact that like
right.
we were going through it, and I think I came to see you. I can't remember if I had come to see you before or after I told the kids. I think it was right
It was
before we had
before.
told the
It
kids.
was before.
Yes. So I
Hmm.
was like, maybe he's picking up on like the energy between us, and that's why he's not sleeping. But no, like there's something going on in
Yeah.
there.
He was literally being terrorized because I was like,
Oh,
oh my God, the poor kid. He's like freaking out. It was actually quite bad. And I said, look, try this, do this, this, and this. And you did. You went home and you cleared the place and you did all the things that we suggested. And I say we because it
can
was
we
your
talk
guides.
about that? Can we talk
Yes,
about that? And that like
absolutely.
insane experience I had with that.
Yeah.
So you had said like that you very much felt like you psychically like came into my home and you very much felt like that was like the area of the house that was like most affected was his room and everything. And like, but you had advised me to like do the clearing from like the very lowest level of my house all the way and then finish with his room.
Yes.
So I started like the lowest level of my house. I live in a really weird house. It was built, I don't know, in the 90s. Like it's a 30-year-old house, but it's what's called like a raised bungalow. So like the kitchen and the bedrooms are and everything. It's a very high house. So the
Right.
kitchen and the bedrooms and everything are upstairs. And then you've got like a lower level, but it's a walkout. And then underneath the house is all hollow. So I have
Oh,
like this weird sub basement,
yep.
which um like the whole underneath my house is like completely hollow. And like there is like a storage room that's got a light on, but then like underneath it is like all like dark. It's like these dark corners. So I was like home by myself. I made sure like I wanted to do this like when it was just me. So I was like, oh man, I gotta go down to that. What I view is like a creepy place only because it's like musty and yucky and like that kind of thing. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I gotta go down. So I went down there and I was doing my thing and calling for only light energy and for negative energy to leave, that any energy that didn't serve me a purpose to like kind of get out, and calling on Archangel Michael to protect me and like put a bubble
Hmm.
of light around me. And when I was down there, I felt nothing. Like I was like, oh, and I'm actually fine being down here, no big deal,
Great.
we're fine, we're good. So then I go up to the lower level of the house and do my thing around there. No worries, all good, all good. Come upstairs to like where the bedrooms are. Went to my room first, which I think probably had like a different kind of energy that needed to be cleared out of there.
Yes.
Uh, but anyway, so I went and did all the rooms, and then I like actually like I'm getting chills again thinking about it. And then I finally like went to open the door to my son Maxwell's room, and it was like my whole body was hit with this wave of electricity.
Oh, yeah.
Like this, like everything like just stood up, and like I started to like get like emotional in
Oh
there.
my
Like,
gosh.
yeah, like I really felt it. And I ended up like spending like probably like 10 minutes and like getting more and more emotional. And like I like can't even like describe it, but one of his toys freaking went
Oh,
off.
there goes the hair down my back. Yes.
Right? So
Yep.
I was like, oh my God, like ran out of there and closed the door. And I think I messaged
You
you.
did.
And then I called my sister and I was like, you're gonna think, I'm sorry if you don't like swear. I'm like,
I
you're gonna
know.
think I'm,
Swear all you want.
yeah, you're like, you're gonna think I'm batshit. I said to my sister. And I told her everything. And I was like, I was crying because it was like, it was just such a crazy
Scary.
experience. So
Yeah.
that's when I was like, oh, there's like something not good going on there. So you
Yeah.
had sent me a meditation to
Hmm.
go and do in there with the cleanse and to like go back in. So I like braved it and I went back in, and it was wild. Like as I was doing the meditation, I could like feel myself calming down more and more and more and more.
Yep.
But then like clockwork, the second, I'm not even kidding, Karina. And I know like I don't have to convince you, but
Right.
like this is how I have to
Yes.
tell like non-believers, like and everything. Like the second the meditation was done, that flippin' toy went off again. And that toy has never gone
Ooh.
off. This is not a toy that goes off. This is a toy, and like the thing, like it's like this little Fisher Price dollhouse. I don't know if you ever seen like a
Okay.
million people
Yes.
have it.
Yes.
Fisher Price dollhouse. It's got the pink roof on it. It opens like the little like barns we all used to have back in like the 80s and 90s. It's like that with like a pink roof. It's just this little thing, like the size, like the height of a Barbie doll kind of thing, right? But
Right.
inside there's an alarm clock that you press and it plays a song. Or it like
Oh
tells
my
you like, and it
God.
was like, it's like, don't forget to wash your hands.
Oh my God. That's creepy right there. Yes.
So, like, this is not something
Oh,
that just go and, like yeah, and this is the
okay.
only time but that second time that it went off, I
Hmm.
wasn't scared anymore. Like, it was honestly like, that was like "Okay, it's done."
Yes.
So, like, I felt a lot
Ooh.
better, and I felt a lot calmer, and then obviously, like, the kids come back with their dad, and I'm like, "Okay, well, we're gonna try him in his room tonight. We're gonna try to put him to sleep in there." And I walked into his room and immediately saw he had this like cowboy hat. His kids like dressing him all the time. He's got a like wild imagination. Like he loves to pretend and everything
I love it.
too. I know. And he's got this cowboy hat sitting there. And immediately I look at this cowboy hat. I'd been in his room in every corner of his room for probably half an hour earlier that day during doing the cleanse,
Yeah.
and nobody had been in there since. And I look at this flippin' cowboy hat, and there's a dime sitting right on the brim of it.
It's
And I just
amazing.
burst out laughing because I knew like immediately I was like I just like I interpret that as like my grandmother being like, yeah, I'm
We're done.
here.
It's
We
good.
got you. We're
Safe.
good.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Like,
yes, yes.
oh, and like, oh, and I did say, I was like, guys, like, kids, did you put this? They're like, what? Wait, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, yeah, okay, no,
Okay.
that's
You can't make this up, you
no,
know?
I know, right?
Love
So
it.
yeah, so like his progress has been like really great. Like we like have had like a couple little hiccups here and there. I mean, like, but like he's not waking with the like fear and terror that he was waking with before.
That's
It's
right.
this like calm, like I'm awake, so I need to come talk to you kind of thing. I think
Right.
we kind of talked like you feel like he might still be kind of like journeying at night a little bit as opposed
Yeah.
to being terrified. So we are trying like the closing of the third eye. I actually got I don't think I updated you on this. I
No?
was in Vancouver in December and went to a really cute little crystal and gem shop and I got some selenite.
Oh, so good.
So we like do like this like little like ritual every night where he asks Crystal, he's named the Crystal Crystal.
I love
So he asks
it.
Crystal to protect him and to keep only good energy and to give him only good dreams. And he like
Wow.
holds Crystal and he holds Crystal and he asks her, "Can you give me good dreams?" And then he holds Crystal up to his
Oh,
ear and then he goes, "I can hear her energy."
that's so cute. He's so cute.
I know, isn't it adorable?
Adorable. And thank goodness he feels safe with it, right? Like it's
Yes. Oh, it's been
selenite's
like a big game
amazing.
changer.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So he sleeps with that like next to his bed every night. And it's like made a world of difference because I also like so now like since then,
Mm.
my partner has moved out or my ex has moved out. Like he's in his own place now. So like the timing couldn't have been better because I get up so early in the morning that, I'll wake up at even like 11 midnight like that like screws me over for getting up at 3:45. So now
Oh
I've
my
got this
God,
kid
yeah.
that's he's sleeping through the night, everything's all good.
It's
So
amazing. I love to hear that because
yeah,
I was really
yeah,
worried about him when you sat down. I was like, okay, look, we got to talk. Because I'm like,
yeah,
this poor kid. And look at what a difference even just a cleanse of the house makes. And now
I
he's got
know.
his little crystals and he feels protected. And then the dime for sure. Like that was, because your grandmother had come through in that session as well,
Yeah,
that very first session. And for her to show you that sign, I think getting that sign was just like what you needed to know. Like they're there. When you call on them, they are
absolutely.
there. They're not always
Yeah.
like gone. I think some people are like afraid. Maybe they're not there. No, they really are there and they will help you. And that's her sign to show you.
I will share like a little bit of irony in the whole thing that is just dawning on me right now is the
Okay.
dollhouse. And like
Yeah.
she was a lovely love we loved, but so the dollhouse was actually a gift from my grandfather's partner after my grandmother passed away.
Oh.
Isn't
You're
it
like,
just and like we love
oh,
and like yeah, Doris and who knows, maybe it was like a sign from Doris too. Doris could very much be like protecting us and everything too, because she was very much a part of our family and like we very much
true.
loved her. But I was like,
Huh.
that's a little interesting that of all toys
Of
to go
all that
off, it
they
was
could
a gift
choose.
from her, right?
They're having at odds on the other side. Just kidding. But just kidding. But
Oh,
isn't that wild? Like there's certain
interesting.
things that, and I think that's what I love the most is that they can prove their existence through electricity,
Yes.
toys and batteries, like anything that's kind of like powered really in a sense, and light switches. And yeah, there's so many things. I mean, that's kind of why I started the podcast in the beginning was these are the things that you just can't make up. And I think a lot of people are either afraid of it or
Yeah.
really against it too to even believe that it exists out there. And I'm like, you guys do you, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying these are all the experiences that I've had and you can't make it up. And I think
No,
it's incredible.
exactly.
And even with your grandmother coming through in your session, I think when we were going through, and one of the things that I love to do is go back in time. And it's almost like going in like a time machine for me. And they jump me and throw me into like a house. And I'm like, I don't even know where I'm at. And I start walking around and I'm like, I'm feeling things. And then I start describing the house. And I'm pretty sure she took me to her house. And that's how you knew it was her because she started with that.
Oh yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Everything that you were saying was like 100% bang on her house and like talking about like photo albums on the floor, which was like her and I spent an entire summer organizing her photos and putting them in photo albums. And so like that was like one of my last summers with her actually, because I she passed away when I was 21, and I lived
Oh,
with her in the summers when I was a teenager because she lived up at a lake in northern Saskatchewan. So I'd go work at the golf course and I would live with her for the summers. And yeah,
yeah.
like so like you like nailing the photo albums all over the floor, and just the description of her home, like it's just yeah, super,
It's
super
crazy.
wild.
And
Yeah, very
they
cool.
really they do that for a reason. Like they go in and they show me these things so that when they do give you the advice about your life, you trust it. Right. So if
Yeah.
I just came right off and started saying, hey, here's some advice for you, some people might take that as like, I don't know, like, is it really advice from above? But when they go and they prove and they validate that it's them and you can't question it, that's when they'll hit you with advice for your life. And they go, okay, now here's the thing. This is what you got to do to
Yeah.
fix your life or to live a better life or make a better choice, and they guide you that way. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, after hearing from her and knowing that it was her, then when she started to give you the advice, it was like, okay, okay, I'm going to listen,
Oh,
I can do this.
yes. Oh, such a relief. Like such a absolute massive relief knowing that like she had my back. And I mean, I come from a family of like everybody stays together.
Oh,
Which is great, and like it's beautiful, and like my like I'm surrounded by incredibly happy, strong relationships,
right.
which is awesome, and I love that for all of my family. Like I truly do, and like I
But
my parents have been together since my mom was 14 and my dad was 16, and they truly like
whoa,
I know, and they love each other so much. Like they're still
oh my
each other's
gosh,
favorite person. I know, right?
that's
So like
so
that
crazy.
can be tough when
It
you
would be.
are
Yeah.
in a relationship that you know isn't good for either of you. And like it's so good because like we are already becoming like such good friends, which is like
Oh
so nice, like in this like
gosh,
new
that's
like
incredible.
phase of everything, and like that is truly like that is kind of like what we that was our sell line to the kids. Like when we did finally tell the kids, like, we're better as friends, we're better as friends. But it's just
Yeah.
kind of like that's what we were telling the kids. But
Yeah.
now we're like really actually
Doing
realizing,
it.
like, no, we are better as friends, actually. Like, I actually like you as a
That's
friend. Like, let's be friends, kind of thing. So
that's a
that's really
gift.
nice. But
Hmm.
yeah, like when you're in this like relationship where, first of all, like also very young, I was 17, he was 18. We,
Wow.
got together, and then like for me, growing up in that environment, and like I'm not kidding, like both sets of grandparents, all my aunts and uncles, everybody, cousins, everyone, like you get together young in pretty much and you stay together no
Oh,
matter what in some situations, right? So
yeah.
I yeah, I was having really struggling with that and having a hard time. And I ultimately ended up making the decision for myself based on a lot of things. But it's like still that, like, okay, well, I'm the only one that did that. And yes, most of the people are happy, but I know there was a few that weren't. So, like, am I not as strong as you start questioning yourself when you do become a little bit of a black sheep? And like I had a huge family, right?
Right.
So yeah, so just getting that like validation from my grandma, like being like, no, you're doing the right thing, this is what you should be doing, I'm so proud of you. And like I'm hearing
Oh,
that, of course, like from
yeah.
my living family members, of course, like they're very happy and they just want me to be happy and everything. But no, it just validates it, and yeah, it just makes me happy to know that she's proud of what I'm doing and everything. So
I love that because I think that's what you did actually need to hear. I think you were at that pivotal moment in life of like your soul already knew what you were going to do, but to have that validation that she had seen it and said that
yeah,
you're going to be okay, you guys will be okay. Um, I think that's what you needed in order to
yeah,
kind of just speak your truth, and you did. And I think, what you just said, being friends is going to be so wonderful for your children. I think you guys are doing it right. That's incredible.
thank you. Thanks. Yeah, we're trying our best, but like yeah, it's like it honestly has like gotten so much easier since like we have our own living quarters, and we are like yeah, transitioning into like I guess like yeah, actually legit friends. Like that's the hope for the kids anyways. And right now like in the early days, it's all going good. So we just got
Well,
to
that's
keep
good. Keep it going.
yeah,
Just keep it up,
yeah. Yes, that
put that energy out there and manifest that. Like, look,
exactly.
you
Yeah.
go live your life, you be happy, because I know you even said that to me. You want him to be happy.
Of
And
course.
that's
Yeah.
amazing to say that for each other, right? You both wish each other happiness. And then that way you can just stay in that momentum of like, look, you're happy, I'm happy. Let's just be co parents, right?
Yeah, yeah, and
So,
like yeah, like growing up, like the way I did, it was like, no, like once you choose your partner, like you're with them forever, but like also learning like it's okay to view it also as a chapter in your life. Right? Like
Yes,
it
that's
doesn't have to
really
be the
important.
whole friggin' book.
No, it
Right? If it's
doesn't.
not if it's not working, it's not working, right?
And I
So,
think a lot of people stay for those reasons, right? Where they feel an obligation, just like you said, like it's almost like you feel like you failed in a way if everybody else has been successful. And
yes, exactly.
that's a hard thing to do, but I think it's even more incredible that you could be strong enough to say, this is not for me. And I'm okay with that. And then everybody else around you eventually will be okay with it. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then from there, I know that I said to you, I was like, like when you're in a transition like this and life is changing, I think it would be great if you could come back. And I never say that to people because I like for people to make their own decisions when they come to do any kind of session or healing or anything. But I looked at you and I was like, I think it'll push you along the path a little bit if you do clear your energy a little bit better. And so you're like, yeah, I'd try Reiki for sure. And you've never done it before, right?
No, I had not ever done it before.
Okay.
And I like again, like I didn't know what it was. And so like I was like, what? Like you mean it's like a massage, but like
Not
you don't
really
get touched?
anything. Yeah. What are they
Like
doing to
how I've
you?
used to view it, right? Because like I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like I don't really see what that would do for you. I don't
That's
really
right.
quite get it. Like that's really, really
Weird.
strange.
Yeah, it's very
Um,
weird.
but again, like I just like am like so comfortable with you. And so like that you were like, well, like and you did say you're like, I usually don't tell people to come back, but like a big thing with me was yeah, like the guilt that I was feeling. And you
Yeah,
were like, we need to get that cleared for you. So I was like, okay.
I'll
Oh
try
my
it.
goodness. I am like the biggest friggin' believer and preacher of this now.
Oh,
Because
good.
of how friggin' good I felt afterwards. Like it was honestly like it was like euphoric how
Yes,
incredible I felt and how I've just like I don't know, does this make sense? Like that it like kind of like helped me to like try to like learn to like forgive myself for a lot of things.
100%. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's the thing with like Reiki is so wonderful. And I know it sounds wonky and not everybody gets it. And they think, there's a lot of jokes about it. I'm like, I know it sounds weird. You put your hands on somebody and what can that really do? But
Yeah.
a healer can go in and channel this beautiful light. And like when we have guilt, shame, any of the lower vibrational energies within our soul, we end up almost like locking them away, right? Like in little boxes. Now, it's like, say for this, example, like in the sacral chakra, we would have that shame or that guilt. We don't really want to look at it. So we like pretend it's not there. So we lock the door with a key and it's like, oh no, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm fine. And then years
Right.
later, illness, disease ends up happening because disease is all the emotions that we haven't dealt with in life, right? So with Reiki, your guides basically give me the key. We unlock that box and we look in there and we go, okay, you're hiding this, or you haven't addressed this or dealt with this. So let's get rid of that energy and it's a partnership. You and I, say we're working together. I can't just heal you. It is a partnership. I have to do it with you. So I say, hey, this is what's going on in here. Are you willing to let it go? And then we just move the energy, replace it with good, positive light, and then seal you off. So we do go in. It's kind of like, sounds weird, but it's like psychic surgery, right? All the things that
Right.
we're hanging on to, all the hurt from our ex partners and things like that, it's stuck on us. And
Yeah.
once we go in and remove it, we are free. It's like a big weight lifted off someone's shoulders with Reiki. It's incredible. I can't say enough about it. I've been doing it for 10 years straight. It's amazing.
Yeah, like it's so funny. Like you had even said that like the guilt, you sense that it was like causing me like stomach issues and like that kind of stuff. And like it
Hmm.
was. I was having like such bad like I don't know, just not feeling great. And like honestly,
Hmm.
it's so stupid. Like it's just like, when you like don't realize that you felt good for a really long time. Like that's
That's
honestly
it.
like when I'm sitting here right now talking, I'm like, wait a second. Yeah, like I've actually been
Yes.
feeling a lot better.
You're like, I feel really good all of a sudden. And it's you only had one session. One session.
Yeah.
One.
I know. Wow. It's
And
so incredible. Like I'm such a believer now. It's insane.
I'm
And like
so
anybody that's
glad.
like, I feel like this, I'm like, hey, you should go see my friend Karina.
That's right. Why don't you try this? But
Yes.
heads up, she's going to be really blunt. Like, okay.
Totally. But that's so good. Like, and yeah, you
Yeah.
like said something. Well, and it was also funny because my grandma kept coming through while you were trying to do Reiki too, and you were like, she's so loud,
Yes.
which is awesome.
And sometimes like because they help me, right? So I'll be doing Reiki on someone and I'm like got my hands on their say their stomach, for example, and they'll open their eyes and they're like, wait, I thought you were at my feet. I'm like, no, that's just your grandma or your someone, your guide or whatever.
Oh
But
my
they
gosh,
all
so
work on you at the
interesting.
same time. It is not just me. I'm just the channel of light. And that's why even being called a medium, I'm a medium in between worlds, right? I'm between the two worlds to connect and channel. That's how it works. It's weird, but I don't know. That's how they made me.
It's
So
the coolest thing ever.
I
Oh,
find
I'm
it
so appreciative
strange.
of it. No, it's so awesome.
I'm just glad that you actually had the experience after all these years of kind of like following each other and not really like diving into it, but it wasn't the time, right? Like
Yeah.
everything, I think we sometimes feel that it's always in our timing where it isn't. It's in divine timing. When they felt that you were in need and you were ready to accept the healing and move forward in life, that's when they brought you. Because you said, like,
Yeah.
my post happened to pop up in your feed. And I mean,
Yeah.
you follow a lot of people. So it's like, really?
Well,
You happen to
yeah.
see it that day? Come on.
I know. And that was like I had to just like be like let myself be guided in that situation. I was like, I just gotta see her finally. Like, oh my goodness. And like it's funny, like you would when you would pull those cards for me back in those days when I wasn't ready to fully
Hmm.
accept and I was having thoughts. And it's funny, like when you're going through something like that, like you have the thoughts and then they like things get better for a while and then you don't. And then you have the thoughts again. And then like it kind of gets to a point where like it's just the thoughts
Yeah.
and then you're like, okay, now I need to do something about it,
Take
right? It's
action. Hmm.
yeah. So like, but it was like, okay, yeah, I need to lean into that a little bit more. I'm not ready to.
I know, because it's scary, right? Change is
Yes,
scary. And
it
even when
is.
you sat down and after we finished discussing your son, I looked at you and I was like, all right, now we got to talk about this. And so,
Yeah.
and you knew I was going to be I think you knew that I was going to be pretty direct and that's how I
Yeah.
was. I was like, "Hey, this is what I see. This was what needs to be done and let's try to fix this." Right?
Yeah, totally.
And hence again, when I do readings, it's not coming from me at all. I am just the medium in between worlds channeling out what your guides have to say to you to guide you to where you need to be. And again, it's a partnership. You have free will. You could walk away going, yeah, I don't know if I really want to do that or not. You make the choice
Yeah.
ultimately, but they will guide you to the best outcome. And sometimes, like,
Yeah.
I give scenarios too. I'm like, hey, scenario A is this you stay and you do this, da da da. This is how the life looks. Or you take, B and you go this way, and this is what can happen. So there are choices, right? Free will. Free will is always at play.
Well, and it's like it's so interesting because like yeah, I have really worked on like the forgiveness of myself, which I like is like truly like where I anytime there's anything that like I always find a way to feel guilty about it, right? But like
Yeah.
just some of the other things that we talked about and some of the other like messages that you were given really
Hmm.
helped me to like work on forgiveness of other people too, which
Big
is
time,
so
right?
important because
It
that's not
is.
healthy to hang on to. But it's so interesting because like we go to the gym and we work out and that's our like mental or our physical whatever. And then like we go to a therapist and like big believer in like seeking help for like your mental health and going to therapy and that kind of stuff.
Yes,
But like spiritual therapy is like so needed and that's truly what you should call yourself. Like, like medium is like you are, but like it's like it is a form of therapy too. And it's
it
like been
really is.
such a huge help for me through this entire like crazy transitional process in my life.
I'm so glad because I think, again, if we don't have those messages from our guides to almost, we have intuition. We're all gifted intuition. Do all of us listen to it? Nope. We
No.
go
Yeah.
against it. And then in hindsight, go, shit, I knew that.
I
Um,
know.
but with the help of like, a spiritual counselor or a medium or anything, like you get those little bits of insight that help you along to make those decisions. It's always in us, right? We all
Yeah.
know what we're supposed to do or what we should do, but to have someone validate that and see the truth of what you're really feeling, because a lot of people, we hide our shit. We
Yeah.
hide our problems, we hide our emotions, we hide our feelings. And for someone to basically say, hey, I see this is what you're going through, it really does help us to get on that path because we already know it. We just need the little push in that direction, you know?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, it's been incredible. I'm so, so appreciative of all of it.
And I've been like
It's so,
I've been seeing your posts and everything, and you just look so much happier and lighter, and
oh,
you're smiling and you're beaming, and your energy's like, just much higher. Like you just
thank
seem
you.
more in your element. And I think, you're just about to start a whole new journey of
Oh,
exploring yourself, and all these
yeah,
new things are coming for you. I think I told you some of that, what I saw in your session. and
totally.
and there's some really big things coming, but you had to get out of your own way and get rid of this heavy backpack that you were carrying of, like you said, guilt and shame and things, whatever, for failing,
Yeah,
right? And when we
yeah,
don't see it as failure, we see it as growth. That's a big difference. It's changed the perspective, right?
absolutely.
Look at
Yeah,
it differently.
100%.
I
Yeah,
grew, I'm evolving, and sometimes we evolve together with our partners, and sometimes some people are just not meant to. And I
yeah.
think you made the incredible choice for both of you, for both parties. And when you do wish your other partner, or the partner, happiness and joy, it comes back to you. It's karmic, right? So you guys are
Right.
doing it well, you're doing it right. And I think the work that you have up ahead for you, I think you have a lot that you have to do in this life. Like there's so much more for you. You have a platform that you can use to really be of service to a lot of other women, and hence why you even were guided back to start, a woman a day. And
Yeah.
why did you start that, by the way?
Yeah, so again, we talked about social media for a second here and just like how I hate it for so many reasons, but love it for so many others. And it came at a time where I really, really was struggling with social media. And I was heading back to work after my second mat leave, after having my second baby. And I just like social media for me was a dark place because it's where I went to compare myself to other women. Like it's not what
Ah,
obviously that's not like what I like
no, but it
intentionally was going to
happens.
do, but that's what was
Yes.
happening. I was like really comparing myself to other women and like feeling very competitive with other women, which like it doesn't serve anyone, like especially not me,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it came like about 2 months after I went back to work. It was International Women's Day, and I was like, how can we yeah, great, there's a day, love it, very important day on the calendar, but like, what are we doing to celebrate women every day, year round?
Yeah.
So that was like, well, let's celebrate women in our community every year round. So it started as a way to do that. And I was only going to do it for a year where I was going to feature a different Calgary woman every single day. But then it turned into this like really quickly, like this like community where instead of like being competitive, we came together and we lifted each other up. And it became this like nomination thing where like people would nominate the women in their lives because they needed a boost or they thought they deserved the accolades or even self-nominators who needed like the help getting their businesses off the ground and that kind of thing. And it's just I was going to do it for a year and we're coming up on 5 years this March.
Wow.
Yeah,
five
March 8th.
years. Oh my
March 8th will be
God.
5 years of a woman a day, which is so
That's
crazy.
huge. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's amazing. And it's also allowed me to like get into like so many different communities and to like I just want to like make the world a better place like so badly, and it's helped me to be able to get onto like a board of a charity that I'm so incredibly passionate about called
oh,
Stand ASA. It's this beautiful little grassroots organization. Stand Against Sexual Assault. It's a
ooh, I just got
um
chills. Sorry, right down my
yeah,
whole
no,
body.
yeah.
Oh
So
gosh,
so
Danae,
it
good for
was,
you.
yeah, so like a like bit of a trigger warning, but this was founded by a survivor of sexual assault herself, who was confided in by her cousin that she had been sexually assaulted, and the founder herself had never told anybody else that she had also been. And so
Oh,
she became this support for her cousin and then realized, yes, like there's like so many women that like don't tell anybody, but also like tell people and then have the feeling that they are telling somebody that doesn't know what it's like. So it's a peer support organization. So it's survivors helping survivors in like talk therapy. Big thing is connecting survivors to free holistic services like free yoga and equine therapy. We have a rage therapy as well, which is like so
amazing.
awesome. But Yeah, and then it's just like also like another part of it has been like having them like this organization be like the people that like I is like they're my, I don't know, as beneficiaries or benefact, whatever the term is for like,
Yep.
that's who like all of my fundraising events like go to support them. And so
Wow.
we have our big International Women's Day event coming up. This will be the fourth annual, which is crazy because I started it on the
Amazing.
1 year anniversary of A Woman a Day. So we've got our big event coming up, and yeah, the money raised there will go to help continuing these services. And another big thing that we do that the founder does is workshops in schools to educate on consent before
Ooh,
kids are
that's a
even
big
getting
one.
to right, because there's certain things in our world that are have been thought to be okay for so long, but they're not, right? So getting that education and also educating people on how they can seek help and seek assistance and seek support and everything too. So it's another aspect, so getting
Goodness.
us into more schools and getting more
Yes, the schools.
holistic therapies and
Yes.
yeah, so it's just so
I think that's
that's some of the
incredible.
cool positive things that have come from A Woman a Day. And yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. And hopefully in another 5 years we're saying, wow, it's been 10 years. I just I just want it to keep going and really
I think
excited
it
to see what
will.
else comes from it.
Oh, it's going to get bigger. And I really would love to be a part of that someday when you're doing that with that charity. I mean, you probably haven't heard, but I did a whole episode called Younger Self, and I'm also a survivor of
Okay.
assault. And so to me, the tools that I've gained, in this like kind of field, I guess you would want to call it, which is intuition. I want to teach younger kids about that intuition, the gut feelings, like the red flags are always there and we ignore it. And,
Right.
I would love to be a part of that someday. So maybe we collaborate in the
Okay.
future.
Interesting. See, this is what
Hmm.
it's all about.
See, this is how it spreads and then it gets bigger and then we help the world
Yes.
today. That's
Yes.
why I like you. I told you
Uh,
I found you inspiring and that's why I asked you to be
Aw.
on here because of your energy and because of the work
Oh.
that you do. And it's, I get it. You're a host of a radio show and I understand all of that, but I saw more and I
Aw.
saw that you do have a huge purpose. And that's why I wanted you to be on here because I think there's so much ahead that you just don't even know yet. And I can't tell you too far in advance because again, you have to learn the lessons to get there, right?
Right.
But you're headed that way and I'm really I can't wait to sit back and watch. It's going to be really awesome. So,
Well, you can sit back and watch, but I also want you there right beside me. So,
okay, deal. I'm going to help you. I
okay.
love it. Deal.
Okay, perfect.
Amazing. Well, I really am just so grateful again that you came on here today. And I really can't wait to see where you go in the future. I'm so glad that the kids are okay and that you're doing not just okay, you're doing great.
Oh,
And things
thanks.
are just going to start manifesting and happening. And it's going to be beautiful to watch. So, again, I just want to thank you so much for sharing your story about your family and being so open on here because I really believe that's what's going to help a lot of people. You just being that open and honest about your relationship, about how you feel, and also the amazing work that you do. I'm just so glad that you were here.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. I just love everything that you do too, and I'm so grateful that something brought us together.
Someone up above. I love it. Can't deny it. So we'll see what will happen in our future
Oh,
together. I love it.
yay. Oh, thanks so much for having me.
If you would like to follow Danaye, you can find her every morning on Virgin Radio 98.5 Calgary, as well as on Instagram at Danaye Maier or at A Woman a Day YYC. If you would like to book a reading with me, I can be reached at www.divinemessages.ca or on Instagram at divinemessages333 or at the Divine Messages Podcast. Please bear in mind that the perspectives and opinions represented in this podcast are based solely on the Divine Messages interpretations. We can in no way be held responsible for the actions of our followers.